I would like to present to all of you today one of the contemporary research topic in relation to emerging technology, how it implements in different higher education institutions of Hong Kong. The scope of the presentation will cover about 6 areas, and there will be about 30 minutes of presentations. And as you know, this is a very massive research, including a very lot of detailed information. So if you find some part or which part you are very interested in it, so please contact me, and I will send you the detailed formal report. And up till stage, the detailed formal report has not been announced, and we just circulate about the TGC director and also the ITSC CIO for our future planning on how to implement the strategies inside our university. The topic is very interesting, and actually is the first time running in Hong Kong to survey about the emerging technology in the higher education institution, which is talking about 13 of the higher education institutions, include public and private university. And one interesting area is also include the Macau University. And as we all know, Macau University is growing very fast after he moved to the new China area, and he intake a lot of the China student. This is their future strategy, and improve their future QS ranking to about 20 to 30 place. After I interview with the POVO, I know that information. So it will become a very major competitor also to our Lingnan University in the coming years. The research actually is carried out by myself. I'm the PPS, and also the colleagues to support the research is Professor Diane Hui. He is an English professor, and also Professor Alf Lu. He is already retired and become the adjunct professor of our university. And the research RA is done by Mr. Sayu Ka. He is also a master student in PolyU. He studied the English language department. And I'm also the consultant of Smart City Consortium and also the Public Key Infrastructure Forum. One is emphasized on the development of Hong Kong as a smart city, and the other is important for the Belt and Road Initiative to support the Hong Kong government to upbringing the e-commerce to the other affiliated country of Asia. As I mentioned, the topic will cover about 6 major areas. The first one is related to background, and the other is called the policy issues, the software side, and also the emerging technology for the teaching, learning, and researching. And one part is a very interesting thing is called LMS, the learning management system. And also the most important part is the mobile computing. I think most of the university have a common consensus among ourselves that we need to emphasize on future mobile computing as a TLR strategist. So how can I be done? So in this research, I give a very good insight about how the other departments and the other unit who are planning about the mobile computing and how it become a university strategist is very important. Otherwise, different departments have different planning on mobile, and there is no unique idea. So this research emphasizes on how to make the policy to make the mobile computing become more useful. Academic research computing and knowledge transfer is also a very new area. It involves a lot of collaborations between inter-university, and it is also one of the UGC requirement and RGC requirement for large fund applications. So I think most of the academic will interest in it, and I will be sharing some of the results on KT and also the academic research computing. Lastly, but it's very important, is related to supporting staff. How many staff and what are the discipline of the staff to support different technology. So we need to have some insight on it to make a reference to Lingnan. You know, Lingnan is the smallest one among the other university. So we need to have very useful, careful planning in terms of effectiveness and also efficacy in light of the human resources manpower arrangement. As I mentioned, if I do not have enough time to cover up, please don't hesitate to come to me and drop me an email so that I can send you the detailed report. The first part is related to the research background. The research background is coming from the supply and demand issue. As we all know, nowadays in Hong Kong, there is not much benchmarking research about TLR. in different institutions. So I come to me that this is a very good idea which align with the TGC, Teaching Development Grant, to know about what happened in this area. And the coming up is that we can have some consortium or some task force which can be formed after we initiate this research, because during my study, most of the institutions agreed to have some common platform to meet together on a regular basis to discuss about the teaching, learning, and researching method and pedagogy side and also the technology side. So it is very interesting for this part. So we need to co-op with the TLC director in future how to make it happen. Because like the JUCC task force is very useful, like the library task force, it is very also useful. So we have a common library system on the cloud right now. So maybe in future, we have a common research cloud to collab with all different research of different institutions. This is my dream. Maybe we will come after 3 or 4 years. So research aim is to review the emerging technology deployed in different institutions and in Hong Kong, SAR, and Macau. And the other is to explore how this emerging technology contribute to the quality of TLR, and to capture the perception and user feedback on the adoption of the technology among the higher education institution, to understand the impact of how enhanced learning in equitable education landscape. The research design is a mixed mode approach. It comes up to both quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative in the term saying that it is an online research, very extensive, and I use the Quadric system provided by ITSC to do about more than, I think, 200 questions. And this question, how it come, is something related to the EDUCAUSE. And I also survey from a different, say for example, contemporary research among other famous universities like Harvard and Stanford, how they do that kind of research. So I come up to some of the particular area which can suit Hong Kong. So I formulate the questions in light of the online questions. And the other part is a qualitative. Due to the limitation of funding, not much enough. So I decided only to confine to 3 universities for deep interview. The level is up to their vice presidents, and they are very happy to discuss with me. This is out of my expectation. Even that they are very busy, so I can make some appointment with them and discuss with them in detail how the policy issues, how the strategic issue, and how the future planning for, say for example, Hong Kong U, UST, and also Macau U. And this maybe in future we can also extend this research to cover all 13 higher education institutions in Hong Kong if we have enough time and budget. And I suggest in my conclusion to continue this research become a longitudinal research, which will take about 2 years or 3 years time to repeat it, to measure that kind of strategies. And phase 1 is related to online survey, and the other is in-depth institutional case studies. And the project starts on January 2017, and about 1 year's time. And the participant is the head, associate head director, and also the TLC senior management of ITSC. According to the participation institution, they are altogether 13, finally, the ultimate. Because Hang Seng management declined to respond after they see the detailed questionnaire, they find that they have no such unit which can respond to this. The most difficult part for the research is to find the right candidate to answer all these questions, because this question is covered different area. And you know, in university environment, different departments have got their own responsibility area. So originally, I planned to address individual department, but later on, I find this approach is not very successful. So I returned back and invite the high level from their vice president, something like that, or CIO, something like that, to draw this research down to different departments for their collaboration. And after I change it, it will become more smooth and also more effective. So this is an experience that's very valuable. And I learned, and maybe the other colleagues, if you do that kind of research, we can use that kind of approach for effective getting back the survey results. Otherwise, very difficult because I approach UST, they can only answer mobile computing and virtual learning environment. They can't answer the others, learning management system, because it falls into the hand of the TLC. So how can I handle it? So I revert back and ask their VP or AVP to assist, so the research can be carried out. So this is one of the strategies that I would like to share with you. The 8 institution of Hong Kong has replied, and the university marking with the orange color and star is the university I take the in-depth interview. So you can see that non-UGC funded institutes are also included in the list. This is a private university. And one thing I would like to mention is what are the usefulness of this research? The usefulness is to transformation of our, say for example, Ling Lam University into a future smart university. And this is also aligned with the senior management of LU. So what are the characteristics of a smart university? The smart university have that kind of characteristic, have an ICT planning by university, information, communication, and technology. They emphasize on the smart teaching and researching. They emphasize on smart school university management using the URP, University Enterprise Resources Management System, using big data to get hold of different departments and draw into a common pool to make a correlation analysis on different data assets. Say, for example, as you may know, we have successfully compiled one handbook on the big data about Ling Lam U. Do you know about that? It's free of charge to distribute. Yeah, we pin about 500 copies. Maybe I send to you. It's not done by me, it's done by VP and also the, and the data Dorothy, our data administrator. And a lot of departments, they submit the data. So it's very useful.
Booklets, they just
Yeah.
hand out this booklet.
Yeah. No problem. Just for your information, we also have a web version. Yeah, it collects all the university data, so it's very useful, and it's the first that kind of publishing in Ling Lam University. And I think in future, the data, big data analytics, that means the data coming from different departments, drawn together using a ER diagram of the database to link it up, is very essential for big data analysis. Because in the survey, it also supports that kind of idea. And our senior management will have a good perspective on that. So he asked us to collect different data from different units. So all this need participation. And the third thing is they use the cloud computing. Cloud computing is a buzzword right now, because if we put all the data and information on the cloud, it will save a lot of the security issue. Some people may think about if I put data on the cloud, it will be very unsafe, right? But actually, this is not the real scenario, because as you know, the cloud computing provision platform, like the Amazon, like the Microsoft, they put the emphasis much higher than our university standard, because if they lose the data leaking out or being hacked, so you can imagine how many people will suffer and their company image will be seriously affected. So I think we need to have some conceptual change about putting our data on the cloud, no matter how confident it is. As you know, university data may not be comparably secure as the financial data, like the stock market data or some time critical data. So I think it is also one approach, and I also discussed with our VP about that. And the other is called Internet of Things, IoT. IoT is very common right now. A lot of embassy of different countries also come to us because I'm doing the knowledge transfer, and the industrial liaison is a new position for me, and endorsed by our senior management for me to do that kind of connection. So after I do that connection, I find that right now in the world, in Hong Kong, a lot of companies doing a lot of the IoT things. They want to implement the IoT thing using IPv6 into their campus every part so that it can be controllable, it can be monitored. So I think this is a future trend for a smart, intelligent campus. And also ubiquitous wireless, I think this is already done. And IPv6 and the smart control system. This is all we need for a smart city infrastructure. And also one distinction between smart and digital campus is that originally our campus is infrastructure-oriented, application-oriented. But right now, we need to change our design or planning into process-oriented and strategic-oriented. That means we do not driven by every application, like the ERP, something like that. We're driven by the strategies. That means if our president say that in future we need to have big data to analyze the entire university's informations. So this is a strategy. So we need to use different application, different hardware, even on the cloud, even on the big data, something like that to support that kind of initiative. But right now, we are still rest in the application layer. That means we use the application and drive the user to use it. I think the model is a little bit changed in future 10 years. It's a strategic and process driven rather than application and infrastructure driven. This is more emphasized on the infrastructure element. If we need to have a smart university, we need to co-op with the CO, Controller Office, to develop safe campus, energy monitoring in hostel and main campus, environmental monitoring, smart dormitory, something like that, smart traffic, and also smart geographic information system for up to 3 dimension or 4 dimension. Right now, you know that GPS is only 2 dimension, but as far as I know, they are now using the 3 dimension, including the height of the spot area. And in future, we'll also include 4 dimension, so that you can tell a story about that location. And all the research previously done by social science, something like that, can be revisited again using the 4-dimension analysis of data. This is one plan, how to improve our research. And I discussed with also the senior management about that. Because right now we have a supplier for that kind of smart geographic information system. The section 2 is related to the research, is related to the emerging technology and the TLR policy. So one interesting thing I would like to share is that these 2 charts show 2 things. The first one is the staff and student aggregate, the red color one, showing that the most commonly used computer and communication device is Android. And if you see across the plane, you find that the red color decrease, right? That means the first one is the Android. I use the Pareto chart for easy visualization, so the data can be easily compared. So you find that the highest one is Android phone, is used by staff and student together. But if you just see the student side, it's also the highest. That means Android phone or Android communication device is most common in the 13 university. And then the second one is iPhone, and the third one is MacBook, and the fourth one is desktop computer, and the other is Windows-based computer and iPad, something like that. It shows a decreased trend. So this gives you a generic idea about how the student and staff buy their communication device. And the second also interesting is about the how many number of internet connected device per user is free. So you can see whether you yourself have free device to connect to the network. That means when we do the network planning or the license management about the library book, something like that, we need to think about the free license per user instead of only one. Like the Microsoft, you need to install maybe in your pad computer, in your desktop. So this is also useful. And the second one is very interesting. How the average time students spend on their online activity. So I break down into 3 major categories. The first one is 1 to 2 hours, and the other is 3 to 4 hours. And the third one is 5 to 6 hours. So from this 1 to 2 hour chart, I also use the Pareto scheme to plot it out. We find that online gambling is the highest utilization for all the students. And the second is online studying. The third one is video streaming. They are the same. And also the fourth one is online researching. But if we look a longer term using the computer, we find that social networking, 3 to 4 hours per day. And then is the researching and also the video streaming. They watch the movie, something like that. As far as the longest time, 5 to 6 hours, social networking become the highest. 16% of people will do every day, 5 hours to 6 hours. So you find that the first highest one used by the most of the students is not for study. So as a management, we need to plan some strategies on that to make the student use their ICT and also the bandwidth, the network bandwidth in a more, I can say, research way and also maybe support study way. So we need to have planning about that. And also for the VLT, it's a very new one. VLT include the MOOC, MOOCs, and also fitting classroom, something like that. That kind of virtual learning environment, we find that this is the chart summary, the increase in use plus under planning. Increase in use, that means in future, it will increase in more use, and also planning to use. So I arrange it in the descending order again. So the highest one is e-learning course analytics. That means intelligent, have AI, something like that for instructor. And the second one is MOOC. Particularly in Hong Kong U, all the courses printed on MOOC. They start a new initiative chaired by their VP to kick off that MOOC. Production of multimedia e-learning material, again, our university have that kind of setting at this moment. Albert maybe share with us if you have some information about the lab later on. In-course polling to increase the interactivity between lecturer and student. They include the in-course polling tools. And also collaborative e-learning system and education games on simulation. They are also very common. So I highlight this. If you are interested, you can look into it. A detailed report have all the writing on different aspects. And again, impact and utilization of technology for smart campus in future, the highest priority with the very good result is the mobile technology. This is a very useful result. We find that mobile technology can improve the learning effectiveness, can improve the student engagement in the course, and also the perceived usefulness by both student and lecturer. So priority one is mobile technology. So we need to plan about how to put forward that mobile technology in our future teaching, learning, and researching. And the second one is related to digital media archival for text, audio, and video, something like the MOOC. And the third one is called virtual reality. This is quite a new term to Lingnan, right? Maybe digital humanity. I think most of us haven't planned about that, but we need to know about something. Because the other university will emphasize on the VR, and later on the MR, mixed reality. And also later on I will show you something. So the priority is mobile. The second one is virtual reality, digital media archival for text, audio, and video. And the third one is simulation. And also, we also investigate on the online and face-to-face, because you know, Lingnan is emphasized on face-to-face because we are liberal art, right? But the other university, they emphasize on the online. So how can I know about that? Online courses is increasing trend, 77%. And the other is remain the same. When compared with face-to-face, it remains the same, 77%. But there is a decline trend. That means if I want to look into the future, the increase in use is the online courses. So how can we do that? So later on, we will collaborate with the TLC to launch the Panopto system for video capturing on the cast and then real-time broadcast through the cloud facility. And I have tried it in my last 2 days FinTech conference, Financial Technology Conference, and E-commerce conference for Smart City. Very good the result is very good. I can share with the TLC director later on about the quality of that kind of thing. I use a simple notebook, the simple camera, and also simple mic. I can give a very good quality presentation. And the editor can have the right to put in picture, something like that, where to put up the text, where to put up the image, something like that. So we will have some plan to roll out in the next term, okay? And the third part is LMS. LMS, nothing to say. I just want to mention one thing. Only Poly University have a plan to switch. Yeah, interesting. The other using the other 6 university using Moodle. They do not have any plan to change. Only Poly U, and also CTU, Hong Kong UST, and also Hong Kong Academics and Arts Performer using the Canvas. And also the future. When we look into future LMS, they emphasize on it is a cloud-based. It is a social learning. It includes social learning area. It includes design for mobility, and also content reusable, and also emphasize on user experience, gamification, using the game to facilitate the teaching and learning, and also reporting analytical tools, personalized learning, something like that. Maybe I finish this part and then I pass the mic to Eugene. Okay. Now, the most area that I would like to highlight is the mobile computing. So when we talk about the mobile applications for TRL purpose, so the first one we need to concern about the mobile apps, LMS, running LMS on mobile. Okay, the other is the generic university apps. Right now, ITSC developed that kind of apps to facilitate the future mobile computing. Apps for running survey. This is very interesting. That means later on, the student and the staff and the lecturer can running some survey online, real time, and then display the result using that kind of facilities. And also apps for online courses. Like if we use the Panopto, this will become not a dream because I use my iPhone to view the Panopto high density video capture. It's very good. And later on, Eugene will tell us something about the pedagogy, about the video, how it is very useful for teaching, enhancing teaching and learning. And apps category is related to social network, music, video playing, gaming, something like that. And the readiness of mobile computing, I would like to emphasize the web part. That means the web part means it is not ready, need to improve. So you find that most of the mobile facility, there is not much pedagogical insight for instructor. No institution-wide policy for mobile computing. We need to emphasize on that before we go into real mobile university. So we need to pay emphasis on this web part. And again, for the student, the other university emphasize on students self-develop some apps, and that apps can be shared to other university. They would like to do so. The apps will be related to VR, to AR, and also MR. So they are different. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I think there is not enough time, and the presentation file is open to sharing. So if you have got any idea, you can ask. I can accept only 1 or 2 questions maybe.
Which system is Poly you going to switch to? You mentioned that they're going to switch to.
He's still under evaluation and tendering, so he do not disclose. Most probably, I think, is to also switch to Moodle.
One of your slides shows the online teaching is shooting up. That is among all the universities in Hong Kong, right?
No, if they are among all Europe, it will be 100%. It's only 70% something. So because LingLab, you will stay on the face-to-face, something like that. But we need also to switch up. Otherwise, we can't get on par with other universities. We need to plan a lot of real change in the real world because most of the students I come across, even in the master level, they find that some of the course need to revamping or re-engineering a bit in order to align the current situation of Hong Kong, like the fintech, like the big data, for them, like the digital marketing, something like that. Because when they go out for interview, they find that that kind of thing is lacking, and the prospect employee will not find interest in our student.
I'm just surprised on the number. The number is very high, but I mean, we talk to colleagues from other universities. They're not using that much online.
Yeah, but the survey result is maybe contrary. They emphasize on because online we can do a lot of different kind of training, including industrial training put on it, to make it as a not a compulsory part. To make it, say for example, if I'm a student, I need to go for work, I can learn some fintech, something like that. Right now in PolyU, you use that kind of technology to run the campus.
Does it include any MOOC in the survey?
Sure.
MOOC are included.
Yeah.
Okay.
They emphasize.
Maybe that's the reason.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Due to time, maybe I switch back to
Okay,
Dr.
thank you.
Eugene
Thank you,
for his.
Messiah.
Okay, thank you.